G'day and welcome back to Torment, Tides of Numenera. Last time round we did Alagurn's quest, which we kind of got into by semi-accident. And I think that really just leaves us with Matt Keener and Callistige as the only characters that we have not done their major quest line. So that's why we've now got Callistige in our party. And yeah, let's just check what quests we've got left. We do want to do more in the Familiar Skies, which I think we'll need to rest first. And then we also want to find a more that leads to the trading post. And we also want to restore Scourer's sight. So that's one of the things we're going to try and do while we're in here.
Naturally.
So, Boris, you have a name. Let's talk with you.
I'll remember that.
This young man's beauty shines through even his grimy face and his tattered clothes. His eyes are wide and staring, electric blue, and the movements of his fingers trace through the air like birds in flight. He snaps out of his reverie and grins at you, his teeth even and white against his brown skin. On closer examination, you can see his rags were once fine fabrics, carefully and expertly stitched. Where am I going to get more money? Hello, she looks quite affluent. He greets you with an easy familiarity, like an old companion. His voice is smooth and educated, mellifluous and soft. Hello, friend. My name is Boris. Can you spare 200 tunes? Why do you need the money? Why, friend, do you remember the first time you fell in love? The sweet laughter of an instant? The taste of a tear when you hear of a friend's death? I do. I remember them even though they haven't happened to me. At least, I don't think they have. But no matter, here inside this shop, Sheen sells the essence of those experiences. If you have the shins, you can live them all yourself. My family never understood. They wouldn't even try it. At least you can live them until you run out of money, which I have. Did I ask for shins already? Could swear I did. I only need 200. So we could give him the money, or I could say, "Hey, I've got news for you." We could lie to him. Oh, disown me. At least I think they did. I've had several families, thanks to Sheen. I really want to do this, even though it is really cruel. All of these mostly are. But I'm going to do that. I've got nothing to spare today, but do have news for you. A white automaton is giving free essence samples in the Memavira's courtyard. You know what? Let's not even spend the point. Let's see how we do. There's a 1 in 10 chance of failing it. Whatever. Did you say free? His eyes light up with a childish enthusiasm. Friend, I wish I could stay with you longer, but I have urgent business to attend to. Namely, I need to procure some of these samples before people who want to appreciate them like I do show up. Have fun. We're helping. Let's talk to the apothecary. This lumpish woman has been ill-used by the years. Her clothes are tattered and grey as if the life has been drained from them. Her face is scabrous, and when she opens her mouth to speak, her fetid breath is nearly overwhelming. She eyes you skeptically and says, "What do you want? Well, you look at me as high and mighty. He wants nothing good, I'll wager. At least not for us." Do you have anything that might... Well, I'd like to ask some questions. I'll wager you would. Here's my question first. What's a fancy looker like you doing down here? Slumming? See now the unfortunate slave? You don't belong here and you ain't welcome. She turns away from you and begins to hook her wares again. So I guess I should have asked by something. Who the hell is Reynard? Business with the Artaglia's regulars? Talk to Artaglia. The features of the once handsome man are sunken and splotchy. The face of anxiety and drink, evidenced by the flag in his hand. The veins of his nose are broken, giving it a rosy appearance. Any cheer that might have lived in his face is destroyed by the frequent glances over his shoulder. Following his gaze, you see a Moor some distance away. He looks you over, his eyes lingering on your cast-off tattoo. He takes a slow, deliberate drink. Come looking for soldiers, have you? You found us. You want a kingdom overthrown, tomb robbed, caravan guarded? If you got the shims, well, you come to the right place. Artaglia's irregulars are not ready to serve. So you've still come to the wrong place. Artaglia's irregulars are not ready to serve. Go hang. Thrice dead and cast off. Shouldn't be dragging my men back to the hell. Fine. What do you want? If you're a military company, where's your standard? Tattered old rag to be sure, but the troops seemed strangely attached to it. Must have come from marching under flooders and seeing so many of friends dying from under it. Does strange things to a man's mind. Tattered as I am, I'd give anything to see us down again. Some thieving Murdens stole in here the other night, raiding us for food, weapons and shins. Didn't get away with much, but they managed to swipe us down. I think it was a personal insult. Murdens, we ought to go and buy it back. Buy it with blood, I mean. Their blood. The Murdens, I mean. What are we waiting for? This damsel in need of... This gentleman in need requires our help. Why would they be insulting you? Jealousy? Because we've beaten them back before? Because we've had more stuff than they do? Figuring out how abhuman things fools are, and better to go with the instinct when dealing with them. That's what they know. Whatever the reason. Well, they got it now. Sometime I should get back, but I knew exactly what they were taking from me. They mock me. So I wanted to ask something else. Why'd you stare at my tat? You're cast off, waiting for you to tell me the penalty of a desertion. Unless you come with more strength than this, you'll have a hard time forcing that penalty. What are you talking about? I'm a deliverer from the endless battle, the changing God's side. Don't tell me you haven't heard of me. Don't answer that. Tell me what happened. Let me tell you what happened. We've been working for the commander they call Chalcedon for years. Earned our pay a hard way, but we did it honourably. Took bigger and bigger risks, and when I objected one day, the Chalcedon told me any castle could do my job, and for cheaper. Cast-offs don't die easy, not true for the rest of us. When we took our last objective of the Chalcedon, we found a nest of Duralisks. Not one, mind you, many. I reported to the Chalcedon, commander of Changing God's army, showed me to wipe them out no matter the cost. I haven't lost 10 of my friends that day. Cost was already too high. Damn cast-offs think they're gods, all of them. Couldn't give a damn about us. So I took it on myself to get the pay we were owed, and then we left. We came here to carve out a living, but it looks like we're still not clear of cast-offs. Yes, we deserted our post. Endless battles are a ruiner of lives. I'm damn proud I didn't waste any more of that. What's are you drinking? This is Asturian rum, one of the finest and deadliest concoctions I've found in my travels across the land. It's like being smothered in a blanket of soft fur and drowned in love. You can strip the gloss off any material you can name to. Most people can't drink one mug, let alone two. Even these brave soldiers find it hard going. But you, challenge you to match me, and I'll match you. Put that vaunted cast-off constitution to the test. Think you can outdrink me? I doubt it. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, drink him under the table. With Bones on the way down, he wasn't kidding about its harsh qualities, but he failed to mention the acrid sting it puts in your nose. Tears spring to your eyes, but you manage to swallow it all. Have another? Bloom juice? No. Changing tool? No. Stim? You know what? We can do this, or we can do what? What else can we do? We could do this to regain health. Alright, I'm going to use Stim. Well now, maybe cast-offs are good for something. Absolutely, let's have another. Yes! It doesn't go down any easier than the first. In fact, it's a little tougher, but you manage to choke it down, though your stomach rebels. You're able to keep it under control. Most people can't handle one mug, let alone two. Even those brave soldiers. He gestures the crowd around him. Even these mighty warriors find it hard going. But you, challenge you to match me, and I'll match you. Put that vaunted cast-off constitution to the test. And we fail. That's fine. Critical failure. And we slump to the floor. So first the self comes barrel. Yeah. So the first one's dead for decades. Shut up, Bernard. I'm
ready.
Yeah.
I'm always
Enjoying a story, right. So that was pretty cool. I kind of expected to slump over then, but we kind of didn't. Never mind. We'll rest, and then maybe we'll have another go at that. Actually, what do we got? We can probably... We have things that restore might. Yes, so we've got this. Okay. On me. And then we do the same thing. Use the force on me. Do we have anything else to boost might? Oh, yeah, that. No, I mean, we've already got basically all of our might pool left. The carp's kind of useless. Probably should look at what I can use. Oh, I've got both halves of this. You pull the first ring fragment from your bags. At first it looks like you've misplaced the second, then you find it pressed into a fold on the exact opposite end from where you found the first one. You reach down to grab it, but you can't. The fragments reject each other with a force beyond magnetism alone. You pick up the second one with your other hand and hold them in opposing palms. Examine Varath. You hold the ring fragment to your eye. The fragment's edges are rough, as if sundered by a mighty strike, but on one end you can still see a socket that might have fit a gemstone or something else. You have the other fragment in your hand. The fragments feel like they should match somehow. The protrusion in the socket clearly fit. It's almost as if they cry out to you to be joined. And we'll examine Arif. You hold the ring fragment in one hand, though it seems like this should be impossible. The small thing is incredibly heavy. Small protrusion goes from one end. Yep, so now we'll combine them. Aha. Pinching the fragments between the thumb and forefinger, you struggle to bring them together. The force repelling them is not magnetism. It's almost as if someone's holding your hands apart with impossible, contemptuous strength. Nevertheless, there must be a way to join Arif and Varath. You just haven't found it yet. So let's try brute force. So we actually kind of can, mostly because of the stim. Or we could have, yeah, no, I think we'll just do it. Brute force it. None of this using the tides. Just brute force it. All good. Ever so slowly you force the ring fragments together, pushing your way through the massive force repelling them. The closer you bring Arif and Varath together, the more they seem to resist. Beads of sweat form on your forehead and your muscles scream in agony. But finally, the moment you force the rings to touch, the repelling force completely dissipates, and the two fragments eagerly latch onto each other. The complete shadow ring lies in the palm of your hand, simmering with barely constrained power. And so this gives us +4 resistance and +2 relativistic damage on attacks. It looks like when one redirects powerful forces into any target struck. Cool. So that ring, I guess, is an ornament? Yeah. Yep, ornament. So, ornament of entanglement. You don't have anyone else with that. So, Makina? I like ya, so you can have it. Alright, so there we go. Makina now hits harder. And hits through things, which sounds great to me. Alrighty. So, we've done that. Let's see what other items we can use. The heat cup we can't use. The flask of bloom water we could use. In fact, it's a great way of triggering death on us, because if we get bloom juice twice, we die in one, sleep. Everlit's fine. We're not using the cup. The Smart Traveler's Star we can't use just yet. Essence of a Single Sigh. Okay. Psychic Guard, which is an ornament. I guess we'll give that to Callie, actually. Kenerads, no. Soul of the Forgotten, no. This, no. Kandiru, +4 effort, -1 in endurance or healing. We'll give that to Makina. Floating Pendant we can't actually use. Yes, we'll definitely, we're gonna have like a Marecaster episode soon. And then the Compass of the Navigator. Oh, we can see more here. This item fits the description of a legendary item supposedly bestowed upon the son of the ocean god and lost in his pursuit of other powerful artifacts to the darkest depths of the ocean. It washed upon the jagged shores of a small island where the scholar Kistillan studied ancient texts and wrote both works of prose and powerful esoteries. Castilian discerned it gave the wearer several augmented abilities to move through the air, water, and woods at hastened speed with a keen sense of a desired objective. After years of study, he unlocked the abilities of the device and became a known master of teleportation, transmutation, and augmentation beyond the ken of any of his rivals. This was his downfall. He became too confident and boisterous, fearing no natural or magical impediment. On a bet with Nemesis, he wagered he could cross through a maelstrom that was passing over the Garavia Sound. He failed, and the compass sank with him to the center of the sound. If this is indeed the device in question, its powers have been used up by Castilian. Recharging the device should be theoretically possible, but would require a source of such massive capacity it's unlikely to exist on the Ninth World. This seems like it totally could come in with the ship place. The feather cloak is not something I care about too much. And then we've got 2 other casters. So that's it. Yeah, all of those are kind of usable, but one of them is a little bit broken, if I recall correctly. It's the circulating mare caster? I don't know. We'll figure it out at some point in the future. Soul of the Forgotten. Ah, right, this one is the other one. This casket is all that remains of forgotten people who once lived and prospered in the Ninth World. Their names are etched into the lid with markings that resemble no known language. While beautifully engraved on the outside, the casket is minimalist, even bare on the inside. A single pastille lies within, containing the essence of those who created it. Let's use it. So you're holding a small box in your hand. It's shaped like a casket, beautifully ornamented. Yes. Inspect the markings on the lid. A skillful hand etched these markings deep into the lid. The glyphs are intricate and strike you as ideogrammic, but you can't decipher them, and yet they seem oddly familiar, as if you've seen them before. If not in this life, then in another. So, yeah. We actually, can't fail this at all. Oh, it's because Stim's still in effect too. A memory blossoms, but it's hard to comprehend what you're seeing, as if it's seen through the eyes of someone not human. Do you speak this language or do you not? You see your fingers trace a pattern on a set of glyphs very similar to those on the casket's lid. Almost reflexively, you repeat the pattern on the lid. The casket opens, revealing a small blue figure with long, spindly limbs has now appeared, lying atop the pastille, opening some of his many eyes to look up at you. The figure clambers out to sit on the edge of the casket. Several eyes are focused on you, blinking at irregular intervals. He starts speaking in a high, wailing tone. You can't understand a word he's saying. Recognizing this fact, he picks up the pastille and reaches up towards you. Eat the pastille. As you consume the pastille, a burning smell immediately overwhelms all your senses. Flashes of memories try to force their way into your mind, but they're too alien to understand. After some time, your mind settles down, leaving blurry memories and hazy details. Yet somehow you've gained full cognizance of the people that this casket memorializes. You understand now that the people memorialized by this casket were secluded people, now long gone, eradicated by a cataclysmic event. You feel the nature of their existence as if it were a tangible being. As they neared starvation, there was no crime, no theft. People sacrificed themselves before they would let others die. While you do not know them, you will remember them. As the cognizance ends, you find the creature gone, the casket now burning with a cold fire in your hands. In mere moments, it is nothing but ashes drifting between your fingers. Lost the soul of the forgotten. Okay, let's chat with the Chiojin. Nope, that's useless. Fine. Let's chat with these people, Demaray and Obervich. Demaray first, because they're closer. Why, good lady, greetings, and welcome to our little operation. His long face suffuses with a deep smile at his joke. His sagging skin and dark bags under his eyes speak of a deep physical weariness, but his manner is bright and cheery. He wipes his nose on a filthy sleeve and extends a hand. My name is Dr. Demaray. And his partner steps forward as well. And I'm Dr. Obervich. It's probably best to grasp the top one, he says as he extends his hand. Like his partner, his face is long and seamed. Unlike his partner, each of his arms is bifurcated at the elbow, with a mechanical forearm and hand grafted to them. A multitude of prosthetic eyes are drilled into the top of his head. Calistage, years have been kind, or they've been kind to those of you within range of my perception. The good surgeons, how fare your adventures in art? Very well. Now we're in the bloom, we no longer need to scruple with mundane things like antiquated laws or alleged codes of ethics. We're free to pursue the avenues of thought that were previously closed. Protectorate? What are they protecting? Certainly not the sick and unusual citizens. I don't suppose you managed to make headway on my concern. They may not be the brightest of scientists, but I do so love their daring. And then continue. Not yet, alas. Other matters have come up. Other avenues have opened. Other possibilities have beckoned. That's a response for 3 of you. There are so many possibilities here. If only we could find another dimensional husk, or perhaps make one. Yet not one answer for my possibilities. You've had years, and we've fractured through time. My sister's voice is growing louder, and I grow louder in their minds as well. The situation is becoming intolerable. I must know, can you find a way to sever us, or can you find a way for us to integrate ourselves smoothly? Have you reached such a data sphere as we suggested? Should that avenue prove untenable, I believe we might be able to achieve severance from your sisters. Indeed, I have prepared such an injector that can mute the influence of your sisters on your mind. It would require you to remove the attractor to take full effect. Its use will be a point of no return. I wish I had better news for you. Perhaps we might look into another avenue for you? That's all, is it? Give me the injection then. Might as well get something out of our relationship. We sacrificed a sister for your knowledge. I would have hoped you'd have better answers for us. Our apologies, Calistege. We'll begin a new course of study shortly. We can't change the past, at least not yet, so that'll have to suffice. Now, what can we do for you, traveller? I thought I had given her the thing for the data sphere. Do you know the way to restore the sight of someone without eyes? Without eyes? Were they destroyed, or is this inherited? Is this a creature with no visual cortex? It makes no matter. I can restore sight to any living creature. He leans forward and taps your chest. Any. Restore the blessing of sight with just a few minor side effects. Do you mean restoring sight and retaining independent nervous autonomy? That is, without scooping out portions of the brain? Subject should retain her faculties, yes.
That.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I know of only one procedure that meets the specific qualification that she retain all her faculties, I'm afraid. It's long, long hard, expensive work. One of her best teachers I should do it, but this is a cast-off. We can't pass up this opportunity. It'd require a conversation worth more than coin. Perhaps if you found us an interesting test subject for investigation, we could consider it a fair trade. And when I say perhaps and could, I mean that would suffice. I can see where Dr. Demery is headed with this. She would make an excellent test subject. Expensive and time-consuming? What about all the eyes your colleague has on his head? Did he undergo all those surgeries one by one? My friend, those eyes provide a valuable function for me, and they are not simple baubles to be handed out as favors. They are fixed to me and provide certain insights. He bobs his head quickly and nervously, as if to belie his words. One of them falls from his head. Blast, he adds, hastily scooping it up and reattaching it. Very well, very well. It got us a slight embellishment. As one might expect for someone of your mental caliber. Did I not tell you? Our friend's intellect was something to be admired. I did. But we don't necessarily need a test subject, I suppose. But it is an expensive item. It will cost us 280 shins. Would I qualify as an interesting test subject? Oh yes, so very much, yes. We'd be particularly interested in investigating this tattoo on your head. It seems reactive and strange. Then I'll volunteer myself. It'll be over before you know it, and think of the knowledge you'll gain. We've seen others with this kind of tattoo, and we've always tried to recruit some of them. Some of them have been less than willing. We've had some unpleasant feedback loops from others. I'm delighted to know that you'll come to us voluntarily. My side still aches from where the White Death stabbed me. I thought she'd be more amenable. Or at least, cooperatively. So I warned you. You ignored the warning. He winces, then rubs at his side. He moves behind you, placing you between Makina and himself. If you're ready, let's begin the investigation, shall we? The first order of business is an injection. Your consciousness swims into a dreamy half-haze, objects taking on a luminous rainbow-tinted beauty. As a great sense of satisfaction fills you, a rush of pleasure through your veins, even when Obovich leans over you with a scalpel and begins to cut. You feel only a slight tugging, and the bead of your blood stuck to the edge of the scalp makes you want to weep for its transient beauty. Eventually, you drift into darkness. Now, what happens when I do this? The last cast-off permanently lost one health pool. A distant thunder summons you back to consciousness. Your eyes blink blearily, and you see Demery's face peering into your own. You feel as though you've been torn open, your mind stripped, and something indefinable snatched away. A sense of loss pervades your being. Your model client is simply fantastic. I can tell you with almost 90% of certainty all your organs are back where they should be. Oh, should I mention your reproductive system is just for show? It's just like that when we found it, I hasten to add. If you have parents, you might let them know that they will never be grandparents. Ah, my good colleague has forgotten to tell you. You may experience dizziness, nausea, some bleeding for some time. Nothing to be concerned with. We've uncovered some interesting facts about your tattoo. If you'd like to hear them, short time, long time, she'll find out, I suppose. Bleeding? Well, we did have to cut you open here and there. You volunteered, did you not? Now, listen, it's important. Do you hear what we've discovered? The tattoo is not really a tattoo, more an amorphous gateway, a skein of living tissue that reacts to specific psychic vibrations. If I'm not mistaken, a specially skilled individual might even be able to use this skein as an entry into your mind itself. Ah, who's to say there might not be someone there already? We should have checked for that while we were in there. Perhaps you'd let us go back in and check for any visions, spectral voices, or hallucinations. Regretfully, my friend Mao Client has fulfilled her part of the bargain. Furthermore, opening her up again would probably kill her, even despite that remarkable regenerative ability she evinced. Are you trying to get rid of me? What about bargains?
Remember that.
What? Oh yes, my apologies. He reaches up to the profusion of eyes on his head and selects one, seemingly at random. With a grimace, he works it free from his head. His scarred flesh flows around it, fills the hole where it resided. Simply place his eye on the recipient's face and it'll do the rest of the work. Easy. What if I put it on my own face? It will likely not work. Okay. Cool. And it would scoop out a portion of your brain in the attempt. No, sadly, I cannot recommend you try it. My thanks. Let's ask some more questions. What do you do here? Chirurgeons, doctors, explorers. Yep, not licensed. Thus far escaped. Yep. What sort of work do you do here? Okay. Yep, I'm sorry. I probably should read these, but... Alright, actually, let's do that for this one. We take on any number of specialized patients. Take patient number 27, for example, or Jaunt, as he calls himself. He was a visitant from another world, an alien creature. Our local Moor devoured him and spat him out a year later, without his skin, muscle, and memory. But yet, if you look at him, you can see he has both skin and muscle. Granted, it's human skin and muscle, but that's why we had to work with him. Couldn't do anything about his memory. The skin and muscle doesn't suit the body structure, of course, but that only makes it more amazing. Why couldn't you restore his memory? The bloom devours more than flesh and bone. It's hyper-aware, hyper-sentient, and its needs are beyond our knowledge. But we do know that it sometimes feeds on certain mental states, and certain psychic wavelengths attract its attention. I theorize it nourishes itself on those wavelengths. It's probably what happened to Jaunt. His essence, if you will, has been absorbed and probably excreted by now. No recovery from that. Okay, that was pretty cool. I liked them. And yeah, like, getting to find out more about what the tattoo is for is also nice. Okay, so we can open that. Yeah, let's open this more. I'm betting it goes to the trade hub. This more is familiar somehow. We've confronted it before. It's older than the others. Somehow you're certain you've confronted it before. I mean, the Changing God has. So let's try and recover our memory of the more. Because we totally can. Easy as. Concentrate on the memory, it begins to emerge. The Changing God stands in front of the Chirurgeon slumped more. And you realize now it's uncommonly old. He wears the body of a tall and powerful man, a glaive. From a leather case at his side, he draws a crystalline object. Clasping it tightly in his hand, its name leaps into your mind. The magmatic amulet. It's the artifact you seek, the one that was once possessed by your sire. Take careful note of the artifact so you can describe it and recognize it if need be. Suddenly the voices and whispering of the bloom had changed, as if the amulet is a prison through which they can be understood. It's impossible to translate the shivering into words, but impressions begin to fill the Changing God's mind. Hunger and expectation, most of all welcome. Your sire reaches forward a hand and the bloom opens at his touch. Compelled by a bond he has forged in the depths of the bloom. He steps through the portal and is gone. The memory fades. So let's observe the behavior of the bloom tongues. They don't seem interested in you, sure. Listen to the voices. The hissing and chittering of the bloom are harsher and discordant as you draw closer to the moor, interspersed with dissonant tones that are almost painful to hear. Your sharp senses provide no particular advantage in hearing the odd sounds. You realize the bloom's voice is a psychic phenomenon, not a physical one. They're literally voices in your head. You can't discern anything except that the bloom is angry. Well, let's cut it open. And the ground has shut us beneath our teeth. Yep, we ticked off the bloom, but that's fine because, you know, I'm a jerk and I don't mind ticking off the bloom. So, let's walk through. And next time around, we will explore wherever we've ended up. Until then, have a great day. Bye.